I'll be doing a run through of the new AI sky replacement tool in Luminar 4 right after the break. Hi everyone, so I'll be doing a run through of AI sky replacement, which is one of the latest features in Luminar 4. Now before I get started, I do have to mention that the version of Luminar 4 that I'm looking at is a beta or pre-production version. So that does mean the interface may change before the final release, and how it's laid out, and some of the features aren't entirely locked down. But it does allow me to give you an idea of some of the features and what they can do. So as I said, in this version, I'll be looking at AI sky replacement. So AI sky replacement is a bit of a divisive feature. And I'm not going to go too much into that, other than to say that, for some people, changing the sky of a photo changes the essence of the photo, and things like documentary photos that may not be appropriate. But, there is artistic merit sometimes in making these changes. So I'll leave that up to you to determine if that's appropriate or not. Nonetheless, I'm going to show you this feature, and what it's designed to do is to use artificial intelligence to try and mask out the sky and then replace that with a different sky. So you can either use the built-in skies that come with the software, or you can use your own. So I will be showing a video later on how to use your own skies, but for the moment I'll just focus on the built-in skies. So look, you can do this by yourself without AI sky replacement, but it does require a lot of masking and fiddling around. And because of that, AI sky replacement is a really useful and simple tool to allow you to change these skies fairly quickly and easily. So on the right hand side of this screen, we have this section which has got all of the various controls. So Essentials has light, AI enhance, structure, details enhancer, and so on. But then if you go down to this painter's wheel called creative, you've got a whole range of more creative artistic tools. And in here we've got AI sky replacement. Within AI sky replacement, we've got horizon blending, position, relight scene, sky global, and sky selection. So I picked sky selection, and I'm going to go down to blue sky 4. What this is going to do is it's going to mask around the grass, and it's going to put that sky in. In advanced settings, you can control a little bit more what's happening to the photo, to the sky, I should say. So one of the things you can do is sky defocus. So at the moment I've got this so that it's not defocused, but you can see that doesn't really align with what the photo looks like, and it doesn't really look realistic because the grass here is out of focus. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to slide this sky defocus up, and the higher the number, the more defocused it is. So you can see that starts to look a little bit more realistic in terms of what the sky would have looked like if it was in this photo, because the grass is blurred, so the sky should be too. So there are a whole range of different ones. I could pick dramatic sky 2, and that will change that far more significantly. I can change horizon blending, and so what that will do is that will change how the horizon is actually blended into the sky, whether it's more subtle or not. I can also change the position of the horizon as well. Relight scene, what that does is that basically controls how much of an impact the sky has on the foreground. So as I slide this back and forth, you can see that starting to change the tone and the exposure of the foreground. And so that's quite deliberate. The idea is that, the sky has an impact on the foreground. So rather than just mask the sky. What this tries to do is it tries to mask the sky and then translate the impact that would have on the foreground. So I'm going to go from dramatic sky to say dramatic sunset 6, and you'll see that's changed that tone a little bit more. So I can fiddle around with the landscape exposure from here as well, so I can make that, you know, more exposed or less exposed. Same with the contrast. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to go into a second photo, which is Panorama down at Phillip Island. And again, I'm going to go into the Creative tab and AI Sky Replacement. From there, I'll go to Sky Selection, and I'm going to try and find a sunset that matches this a little bit better. What you'll notice is that there's a lot of colour from the sun in the sand, and because of that, you're going to have to try and match the sky to the photo a little bit as well. You know, if I just put a blue sky in, it may not necessarily look as realistic. You know, I can change it to dramatic sky. I could make it sunset clouds, which doesn't look too bad either. And then from there, again, advanced settings. You know, I probably want this to be focused because, you know, most of this is in focus. And then I might want to tweak, you know, maybe I want to increase the exposure a little bit more, increase the contrast as needed. And so the last photo that I have in here is a little bit more of a complicated photo. And so the photo itself is not a good photo, but it's a good example of how the software manages to work out what sections it needs to work on. So what you'll notice in this photo is that there's a pier, and there's the beach section. You've got the trees, a couple of gaps in the trees, and the blue sky behind that. So again, what I can do is I can go into the Creative tab, and once I'm in the Creative tab, I can then go into AI Sky Replacement. So from there, what I'm going to do is I'm going to select, let's try Dramatic Sunset 1. And so what this is now doing is this is now starting to try and mask that photo. My computer's a little bit slow at the moment. And it's now going to put that sunset in. So you can see it has managed to mask between the trees. And what I'm going to do is I'll just zoom this in a little bit more, and I'll move this up a little bit so we can see that a little bit better. You know, so you can see it has started to mask in those trees, which is pretty impressive, you know, because that's not the easiest thing to mask around. But it has managed to do that. What you'll also notice, as I mentioned earlier, is that the sky will have an impact on the foreground. So in this case, I might want to relight the scene to change how much of an impact that has. You know, because this is a dramatic sunset, it's applying, you know, a bit of an orange sort of hue and so on to that. But, you know, that you can adjust that as you need to make it more or less realistic to what you're trying to achieve. Again, you've also got adjustments for landscape exposure. You can flip the sky as required in advanced settings, and you can do all of that usual masking stuff as well. But you can see from going from original sky to I think it was Dramatic Sunset. Dramatic Sunset 7. That's had a big impact on this photo already. Yeah. So as I said, you know, it's an interesting tool. It is in the version of Luminar 4, which is about to open for pre-order if it hasn't already. I'll put links in the description of this video if you're interested in finding out more. Like, subscribe to the channel, and stay tuned for some more videos. Thanks for watching.
find out what it means. Always do it on my own, so I gotta get through it. And the only thing I know is to love what I'm doing. Never give up, never slow, till I finally prove it. Never listen to the no's, I just wanna keep moving. Yeah, I put out all this art, it's my only medicine. Yeah, everything I do, I'm just being genuine. Yeah, I'm sick of being screwed, feel my own adrenaline. Yeah, I do just what I do, and I hope you let me in, yeah.